Approval granted for a new technology software company for Grand Bahama. The government taking steps towards a ban on plastics. And Bahamian culture to be celebrated this weekend.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rowe-Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Good news for the island of Grand Bahama's employment line. The Office of the Prime Minister in Grand Bahama announcing today that Skyward Techno Bahamas, a software business solutions company, has received approval to open a new location on the island. Skyward Techno is expected to invest approximately $2 million in the local economy and hire up to 100 Bahamians over the next 5 years. It anticipates hiring 5 highly skilled Bahamians by the third quarter of 2019 and a full staff of 17 by the end of the year. The company was incorporated in India 9 years ago and currently operates in Old Bridge, New Jersey, USA, and Ahmedabad, India. Skyward Techno provides online applications for restaurants, the hospitality industry, timeshare, and a variety of other industries, allowing businesses to streamline operations. The tech company has also started discussions with the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute about training Bahamians to take advantage of employment opportunities at the company. In a release, Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, said that the move is all in keeping with the government's commitment to establish Grand Bahama as a technology hub. He says the government is pleased to welcome Skyward Techno Bahamas as a continuation of their aggressive efforts in the development of Silicon Island. In other news, the Minister of Environment announcing a proposed ban on single-use plastic and styrofoam late last year. Tonight, the minister with responsibility has an update on the campaign to create a healthier environment. Megan Shepard reports.
The Ministry of Environment and, by extension, the Government of the Bahamas proposing a ban on single-use plastics and styrofoam products in the country. These products are said to be harmful to the environment, especially to marine life. The Minister of Environment, the Honorable Ramal Ferreira, says that the government wants to do its part to create a cleaner and a safer environment for all.
It's been estimated now in terms of microplastics that if we continue with what we're doing, we will end up with more microplastics in the ocean than fish. And when we launched the program, we were fully aware that as an island nation, we must do our part. And sometimes we believe and we think that we're insulated from these things, but they've actually found these microplastics in the fish that we eat, fish caught locally. So it impacts all of us.
The minister says that an aggressive awareness campaign will be rolled out ahead of the legislation.
We have the draft legislation in place. We're currently speaking with related government agencies, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Customs, and all of them who have an interest and a role to play in leading this charge. Our target date is next year. We will begin a very aggressive public relations campaign. You will see that roll out. That should happen within weeks. Also, this goes hand in hand with our cleanup campaign, because a big part of cleanup is controlling what goes into the waste stream as well.
He adds that there has already been great support from the Grand Bahamian community.
We've received support certainly from the Ministry of Grand Bahama, Office of the Prime Minister. As a matter of fact, one of the things I really enjoy with working as Minister of Environment is that we have the full support of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is actually very environmentally conscious, and so it didn't take much convincing, along with him and my colleagues, when we presented this idea, that we will in fact join the rest of the world in banning single-use plastics and styrofoam.
The ban is expected to be implemented in 2020. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Well, the leader of the Democratic National Alliance on Grand Bahama and giving her take on the letter of intent for the sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort. And she says where she stands with the $5.5 billion Oban Energies project in this next report. It's her first trip to Grand Bahama since becoming leader of the Democratic National Alliance. Arinthia Komalafe has been vocal about her concerns regarding Grand Bahama, including the Grand Lucayan Hotel. But since the government's announcement of a letter of intent to sell the hotel, she says residents must keep in mind that this is not a sale and it is just an LOI.
We've had this happening so many times in government where we try to get people excited about these investment projects when there's only a letter of intent. There's so much that needs to be answered with the funding, will the individuals have the funding to be able to bring about the project, how much the government has spent to date on that project, and are they going to come out in the red or are they going to come out positive? There hasn't been enough transparency and accountability on that particular deal and what the government has spent to date, whether it had to do with the packages that they gave out or whether it had to do with any renovations that they may have carried out.
She adds that there are still more questions than answers surrounding this letter of intent.
On the government side, on the national side, we're concerned about the fiscal aspect of what has transpired with the project. But then on the investment side, we're really hopeful that the government will find an investor to be able to take over that property, because we never supported the government taking on that particular interest, because we believe those types of projects should remain in the hands of private interests. So as soon as the government is able to divest itself of that asset, we support that, and we hope that there are credible investors who will be able to take the project to the level where it needs to be for the benefit of the Grand Bahamian people.
And when asked about Oban,
the simple thing with Oban is Oban needs to stay off the table. It really should not be a question.
she sums up what a DNA Grand Bahama could look like.
And that is one that is flourishing, one that is working for the Bahamian people, one that is passing policies in the interest of the masses. We're talking about tax reform, and we're talking about energy reform, so many things.
Now, a letter of intent was signed on March 28th between Lucayan Renewal Holdings Limited, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, and the ITM Group, paving the way for negotiations for the purchase of the Grand Lucayan Resort for $65 million and the redevelopment of the Freeport Harbor. You may recall that during a press conference, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, told the media that some 62 local and international firms expressed interest in the Grand Lucayan. However, 11 offers were received and evaluated by Lucayan Renewal Holdings. He said the board made it a priority to seek out the best purchaser for the island's anchor property. He also noted that negotiations would begin immediately, with hopes of signing an agreement soon. On the issue of Oban, the government and principals of Oban Energies conducting a series of meetings last month as it works to iron out concerns relative to the heads of agreement signed more than a year ago. The company is proposing a $5.5 billion oil refinery for East Grand Bahama. In news from the Crime Beat, police on Grand Bahama continuing their efforts to rid the streets of firearms, ammunition, and dangerous drugs in 4 separate incidents. In the first incident, sometime after 3 p.m. on Wednesday, Drug Enforcement Unit officers acting on information went to an area off Fortune Bay Drive. While conducting a search, officers found 5 clear-wrapped packages of suspected marijuana. The drugs weighed in at an estimated amount of 28 pounds and an estimated street value of $28,000. No arrests were made in this matter. Meantime, sometime after 8 p.m. on the same day, a team of officers acting on information went to a bushy area in Hannah Hill 8 Mile Rock, where they conducted a search and discovered a .38 Colt revolver, which had 5 .38 rounds of ammunition. No arrest was made in this matter. In the third incident, sometime after 9 p.m., officers from the Mobile Division acting on information went into a bushy area off Beacons Field, where they found a white plastic bag containing a quantity of suspected marijuana. The estimated weight is about 2,000 pounds with a street value of $2,000. Again, no arrest was made in this matter. And in the last incident, sometime before 10 p.m., officers from the Rapid Response Unit were in the area of Adventures Way when they conducted a routine stop of a vehicle. While searching that vehicle, they found a foil wrapping containing suspected marijuana. Now, that driver was taken into custody and is expected to be charged. Investigations continue into all of these matters. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news right after the break.